All right, welcome. In this quick guide, we're going to break down the PulseFE system. So whether you're brand new to this or just need a quick refresher, our whole goal here is to get you up and running from installation to submitting your data as smoothly as possible. Let's dive in. Here's what we're going to cover. First up, we'll get a handle on what PulseFE actually is. Then, we'll dive into getting the mobile app set up and walk through the main steps for collecting data out in the field. After that, we'll see exactly where all that data goes on the central platform. And finally, we'll wrap things up with some really helpful tips to make your work even easier.
So first things first, what is PulseFE? Before we jump into how to use it, let's take a second to understand what it is and what problem this all-in-one solution is really trying to solve.
Okay, so PulseFE stands for Pulse Field Expert, and it's really a complete system. The easiest way to think about it is that it has two main parts. You've got the mobile app, that's for you, the expert out in the field gathering all that important info. And then there's the web platform. That's where all that data gets sent, organized, and looked over by supervisors.
So what makes this system so special? Well, its real power is in a few key features. It's built for how fieldwork actually happens, which is why full offline capability is a huge deal. It means if you're in a remote area and you lose your signal, no worries. Your work is totally safe. And for the managers, things like built-in quality control and those live dashboards give them a real-time pulse on how the project is going.
All right, let's get practical. Now we're going to walk through the first steps for every field user. Getting the PulseFE Collect app on your Android device and firing it up.
Okay, so installing it is a super simple three-step deal. Your project admin will give you a file. It's called an APK. Now, because this isn't coming from the regular App Store, you just have to do one quick thing. Hop into your phone's settings and flip the switch to allow installations from unknown sources. Once that's done, just tap the file and it'll install. Easy as that.
Okay, listen up, because this next part is absolutely crucial. The very first time you open the app, it's going to ask for a few permissions for your storage, your camera, and your location. You have to say yes to all of them, seriously. It needs storage to save your forms when you're offline, the camera for things like scanning QR codes, and location to geotag where you're collecting data. If you deny these, the app just won't work right. So, once the app is installed, connecting to your project is a piece of cake. The moment you open it, your camera is going to pop up as a QR scanner. All you have to do is point it at the special QR code your admin gave you, and that's it. You're locked in and connected to the right server. No typing in long, complicated web addresses.
Okay, your app is set up, you've got your forms. Now for the main event. Let's talk about the simple process of actually collecting that data when you're out in the field.
The whole workflow is designed to be super straightforward. Right from the main menu, you're going to tap Fill Blank Form. That'll show you the list of forms you just downloaded. You just pick the one you need, and boom, you can start plugging in your data right away.
Okay, now this next part is super important, so let's really focus on it. The difference between save and send. Think of Save Form as your pause button. It's perfect for when you're in the middle of a survey and need to take a break. It just saves a draft right there on your phone, and you can come back and edit it later. Send Finalized Form, though, that's the finish line. When you hit that, you're saying, this is done. It marks the form as complete, and it gets submitted to the main server. No more edits after that.
And this is where that offline capability is just a lifesaver. What if you finish a form but you have no internet? No problem at all. It doesn't just disappear. The app holds onto it safely. Then, as soon as you get back to a spot with Wi-Fi or a cell signal, you just go to the Send menu, hit Send All, and whoosh, it uploads everything that was waiting. So, you've done all the hard work in the field, you've hit Send, but what happens next? Where does all that important data actually go? Let's follow it.
Okay, so every piece of data you send gets beamed directly to a place called PulseFE Central. This is basically the mission control for the whole project. It's a web-based command center where supervisors and admins can see everything that's happening in the field, all in one place.
And from inside Central, supervisors can do a ton. They can track the project's progress on live dashboards, they can look at specific data points on a map, they can run quality control checks, and if something's not quite right, they can even view and edit entries to make corrections.
Now you might see this little globe icon inside the central platform. That's a tool called Enketo, and what it does is pretty cool. It lets a supervisor open up a web version of the very same form you're filling out on your phone. This is super handy for them to do things like remote data entry or to double-check your work, all right from their computer.
All right, we've gone through the whole journey, from installing the app to collecting the data and seeing where it ends up. So to finish things off, let's cover a few pro tips and best practices to make sure your experience is as smooth as possible.
Okay, these 3 tips are really key for everyone involved. For you field users, get into the habit of syncing your data every single day, or at least as soon as you have a connection. Don't let those completed forms just sit on your device. For the admins listening, security is everything. Always use strong passwords for Central. And, just as important, get into a routine of regularly backing up and exporting that project data. You can never be too safe.
Of course, sometimes things go wrong. If you do hit a snag, here are the first things to check. If your sync is failing, 9 times out of 10, it's a network issue. So check your Wi-Fi or cell signal first. If the app itself is acting funny, the very first thing to do is double-check that you've given it all the permissions it needs in your phone's settings. And for anything else, especially issues with QR codes or logging in, don't hesitate, just contact your project administrator right away. They're there to help.
And there you have it. That's your crash course on getting up and running with PulseFE. You're now totally set up to go out there and collect really high-quality data and do it efficiently. So the only question left is, with this powerful tool in your hands, what amazing things are you and your team going to discover?